Welcome back to another 3 questions in 3 minutes with our power players in education. Today, I am joined by Karol Mason, the president of John Jay College of Criminal Justice. Karol is a legal pioneer and a voice for equality, fairness, and criminal justice reform. She worked under the Obama administration on issues of juvenile justice, bail reform, and re-entry for individuals leaving prison. And she was the first African-American woman elected as chair of the management committee at a major national firm. So, Karol, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me to talk about the wonderful things happening at John Jay and our fabulous students.
So I think there's a common assumption that if people want to get into criminal justice, into this field, they need to go to law school and become a lawyer. But John Jay College of Criminal Justice offers a lot of different career paths into criminal justice. And I wonder if you could talk briefly about some of those different career paths, some of those different areas of study, and then the careers that graduates of John Jay go on to have.
Thank you for the question, the opportunity to brag about what our students do. As you mentioned, many of our students go on to law enforcement careers, and many of our students, I'm happy to say, we're number 8 in the country in sending minority applicants to law school and diversifying the legal profession. And they go into the legal profession writ large, not just in terms of criminal justice issues. And many of our students focused on justice issues, not just in the context of our criminal legal system. Many of them are technology, and again, they do everything through a justice focus and thinking about how do we create a world that lives up to the ideals on which we were founded.
I want to pivot a little bit because I know you have a lot of experience in issues of trust within the criminal justice system, and there seems to right now be a crisis of confidence with the public in the criminal justice system. There are protracted debates about bail reform and methods of policing and perceived partisanship of appointed judges. So I'm wondering, with this background, in this climate, how are you thinking about rebuilding trust?
So what's great about the position John Jay has is we were started as a police college. And so we are sending young people out into the law enforcement profession all across the country. As we mentioned earlier, we're also sending a lot into the legal profession. But what the post-George Floyd era has given us is an opportunity at John Jay to rethink how we can be leaders in shaping the conversation around the future of public safety. And we do it in a number of ways. We do it in the context of thinking about how are we educating our students who are going out into law enforcement across the country and rethinking our curriculum. We've adopted 7 principles of an anti-racist curriculum. So our young people who are going into this profession and into these spaces come at it with thinking about how do we create a world that's anti-racist. So we use our platform to bring people together to talk about really difficult issues. And again, because we're an educational institution, it all is very integrated in thinking about what we learn in these convenings, what we learn in these conversations, and how do we not just help our students who are learning here, but how do we help communities externally use the things we learn. So we had a series of conversations called The Future of Public Safety, and with all different stakeholders talking about the tough issues, not thinking about policing, but thinking about how do we create safe communities and how do we get there. And we reached multiple points of consensus, and now we're executing on that and helping communities figure out how they can build trust within their communities. We're doing that through the Obama Foundation's My Brother's Keeper initiative. We're doing it in partnership with the National League of Cities. We're doing that in partnership with Aspen Institute. The beauty is that we are partners and believe that this work requires integration and partnership with entities across the spectrum. And John Jay has a wonderful reputation for being able to be that place where people can have those tough conversations.
So as the 2022 to 23 school year kicks off, is there anything in particular that you're most excited for?
Yes, having our students back in person. It is, I'm now having to budget getting from one place in the college to another because I can no longer get an elevator when I want to. But that's okay. The trade-off is seeing these young people really filling the halls and walking down the hall and seeing them lounged, laying out, studying, reading, sleeping, napping. Because we're not a residential campus, they're here. When they're here, we want to make it a comfortable place for them to stay. And so for me, that's the highlight, is being able to see them in person, touch them, feel their excitement. I like to tell people that whenever I'm having a day where I'm just feeling beleaguered, I just go out in the hall and talk to them, and they're the reason we're here. And as you know from the data from the Chetty and the U.S. News rankings, we are really at the top of social mobility. And to know that we are transforming these young folks and their families and their communities' lives is what brings me joy. More than half of our students are first generation college students. More than half of our students, their families earn less than $30,000 a year. And the data shows that we're moving them to the top 40% in income earners because of their experience and their degrees from John Jay. So that's what excites me every day.
That's amazing. Yeah. And I think also you were talking earlier about those tough conversations. I think it's a very different experience to have those in person. And I'm sure that that's a huge benefit as well. So Karol.
Yeah. And I was going to say some of those tough conversations are with our students because they're the ones that demanded that we do something about our curriculum. So I want to make sure that young people hear that your voices matter and change institutions.
I love that. What a great note to end on. Karol, thank you so much for joining me and for being a power player in education.
Thank you.